Hello everybody, this is Starman and welcome back to Let's Play Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. Well, last time, you'll remember, we made contact with Sophia Hapgood, determined that she too got robbed by the Nazi Mr. Smith, who is looking for Atlantis. We made our way back to Iceland, talked with an old colleague who is searching for Hyperborea. And he pointed the way to Tikal, Mexico, where we met another rather questionable archaeologist who ran off with what he called a world stone, leaving us with a simple orichalcum bead. And we've got nothing else to do here in Tikal, so we'll go ahead and move on.
Let's find the airport.
Now we do get a choice of locations again. I'm going to go back to New York just to show off something rather silly that the game designers did.
What are we doing here?
I was going to ask you the same thing.
This is your territory, Professor, not mine. You figure it out.
What a campus. And you could have been teaching here.
Sure, teaching people with minds like razors, sharp and narrow.
What do we do now?
Let's bid farewell to this ivory tower.
Yeah, because, again...
Aren't you coming?
We can't do anything here yet.
I'll just wait by the car.
And if asking Sophia for her advice about where to go next isn't enough of a clue, the fact that she is not following us here indicates that we can't do anything yet. But just in case, the stairs...
The stairway is closed for repairs.
...are still closed. And I don't know why they bothered coding this in. Apart from letting us have that humorous, what are we doing in New York? I thought you knew moment. No, actually, our next stop will be Iceland. Because we need to pester Bjorn again. Unfortunately, Professor Heimdall has succumbed to the treacheries of the climate, which is rather odd given that, you know, Sophia is running around without a hat, and Indy isn't exactly dressed for polar climates either. Not that they're doing all right, but he,
Too bad. He's frozen solid. A little too dedicated to his work, I guess. It looks like Heimdall managed to chip the eel head free. Sophia.
What's on your mind?
Heimdall's ideas weren't that hot, I guess. What now?
What about that eel figurine?
and yes, in fact, what we need to do next...
It fits perfectly. Whoa!
Look, it melted itself right out of the ice.
All right, we'll go pick it up and... Hot! Hot! It burns! It burns it... No, it's fine.
It's a bronze coil.
So we now have a priceless Atlantean statue. Maybe. And that is all we can do in Iceland.
Let's head for the airport.
So now we'll head back to the Azores. When I say back to, you actually can go here, but there's really no point. I am taking the most economical way of going to all the locations here in the first part of the game.
This is his house?
This is it.
Alright, and there is a faster way to do this, but I'm going to play this out as it's meant to be played out, just for the comedy value. Oh, and one other thing I'm going to do.
Say,
Yes?
mind if I look at your necklace? It's an old lost wax casting, early Bronze Age. It looks hollow. It's a bronze chain. It's an old lost wax casting, early Bronze Age. It looks like onyx. It's a small diamond-shaped hole.
Looks a little bit like brack. Oh, hail brack! And yes, we are totally looking at the necklace and not,
Thanks.
All right.
Mr. Costa?
Keep your shirt on.
Be firm, but polite.
I suppose you're selling something. If it's not a priceless artifact, I don't want it.
You have a bathroom in there I can use?
Yes and no. Now go away.
Nice going, Indy. I could have done better.
Yeah, sure.
Well, that is in fact a hint as to how you are meant to progress. I do love the little pouty look she gives you
Mr.
there.
Costa?
You again? What do you want?
I'm selling fine leather jackets like the one I'm wearing. No, they don't give you that as an option.
I hear you know something about Atlantis.
Ha! Wouldn't tell you if I did.
Come on, I'm a fellow believer.
Is that right? Do you know where Atlantis is?
I asked you first.
Come closer, boy, and I'll tell you. You're standing on it.
The Azores?
No one believes me. That hurts.
Don't start with me.
But yes, in fact, the way to move forward is that, in case you couldn't tell from looking at him, Mr. Costa is something of a dirty old man. And what's the best way to get a dirty old man to do what you want? Get a beautiful young lady to talk to him.
Sophia,
Yes?
how'd we get mixed up with this screwball?
The screwball in Iceland, remember?
Here, you talk to the man.
My pleasure.
All right, so we take over, and the font changes to purple to show that we are now controlling Sophia.
My necklace.
And here's one of the funnier glitches in the game. If we try to look at Indy when we're in Sophia's perspective,
There's nothing to look at. There's nothing to look at.
yeah, slight miscoding of the voice acting there. Either that or Indy is taking up ventriloquism. But with Sophia in charge, we can knock on the door.
Mr. Costa!
Pipe down. I'm coming.
He's a touchy old bird.
Watch and learn, Dr. Jones.
Well, hello, beautiful.
Yeah, he'll step outside for her.
Professor Costa, my name is Sophia Hapgood.
Madam Sophia, a renowned psychic?
I hope my friend didn't pester you too much.
He's a friend of yours? Well, no, he didn't pester me that much.
Actually, he's named after the family dog.
Sophia,
See?
I see.
As well.
What can you tell us about Atlantis?
I already told your friend. This is Atlantis. You found it right here in the Azores.
And this is, it should be noted, one of the many theories as to what Atlantis was. And I should point out once again that this game was very well researched in regards to the various myths and theories as to where Atlantis was. Was it based on a real place? Did Plato make it up completely? And the whole mythology around Plato's Lost Dialogue, which is a legitimate thing. He wrote 2 dialogues which were described Atlantis, and it seemed like there was supposed to be a third one, but he never got around to writing it as far as anybody knows. And the theory behind the idea that Plato may have been describing a place goes along with the writings of other writers who refer to other writers who act as if Plato were describing something factual. Now, the opinion on this is not really that mixed, because Plato was fond of allegory and giving examples. Republic, for instance, his most famous work, is entirely based around an allegorical perfect city. And the first two dialogues which Plato wrote, where he described Atlantis, seem to be written in the same style of Socrates talking to some of his friends and using the metaphor for how Atlantis was run as a metaphor for how the government of Athens should be run. But this has led to all sorts of theories about how Atlantis was a real place, it sunk, and how some believe that they fled to the west and became the Mayan civilization. Some people believe that they fled north and became the basis for the Hyperborea legend. Some people think that they were all related together somehow, and that all the other ancient civilizations, Egyptians and so on, were all, Atlantean outposts or where they fled afterward. And they've been credited with everything from the pyramids being built to Stonehenge. And you can go online and find all manner of theories about how Atlantis was really Ireland, Atlantis was really Iceland, it may have been Greenland, it may have been someplace out west, it may have been a lost city in India, and they tie it to Mu, Thule, Hyperborea, all of the other famous lost continents and legendary lands that probably were referring to something real, but then got blown up in the telling. At any rate.
What happened to the Atlanteans?
Well, they had a run of bad luck, demons and devils, and they left. However, their spirits have personally told me it was mostly bad luck.
Yeah, the theory that Atlantis actually was somewhere in the Azores, or that there was a microcontinent that the Azores broke down into, is one of the slightly more sane or accepted theories. The game proposes another one, which would have some credence behind it, but we'll get to that when we get to that part.
What do you mean, bad luck?
Fire, flood, pestilence, the usual things.
What can you tell us about Plato's Lost Dialogue?
What do you want to know?
Do you have it?
Nope.
Have you read it?
Nope.
Do you know what's in it?
Not exactly.
Can you get it for me?
Sorry.
Do you know where we could find it?
Well now, that depends. I might trade the information for a rare Atlantean artifact, such as a certain necklace I've heard about.
I'll never trade away my necklace.
Well then, if that's how you feel, surprise me.
Would you do business with my friend here?
Madame, I'll do business with anyone.
Thanks for your help. Goodbye for now.
At your command, madame. Don't be a stranger now.
Interesting character.
Trade, huh?
Oh, if only we had some kind of rare Atlantean artifact to offer him.
Listen,
Yes?
I think you better take over.
Okay, I'll give it a try. Mr. Costa?
You again? What do you want?
Let's talk about a trade.
Okay, what you got?
This genuine American-made bullwhip.
I'm offering this genuine American-made bullwhip.
Not a chance. What good is a whip in this day and age?
Oh,
Got anything else?
I can think of some things you can do with it. But that's for a completely different playthrough.
I'm offering this rare archaeology magazine.
That magazine rejects all my articles. You keep it. Got anything else?
I'm offering this mysterious eel figurine.
Now that looks interesting. You've got a deal, mister. Now listen carefully. I don't know exactly where to find it, but the Lost Dialogue of Plato is in the Sprague collection. Got that?
I think so. The Sprague collection.
Very good. Nice doing business with you.
The Sprague collection? You know something, Sophia? I believe Barnett College owns the Sprague collection.
Meanwhile, a research laboratory somewhere in Germany.
Dr. Obermann.
Heil, honey, I'm home.
Kerner, at last! See what Herr Jones has kindly provided. What on earth? Isn't it amazing? You fool! You come back to show me this prehistoric knick-knack? Herr Doctor, I believe this knick-knack, as you call it, comes from the Lost City. Then we have failed! I see no evidence here of some magical metal Plato called orichalcum! Look here. Concealed in the base is a small shiny bead. And it glitters like fire! Exactly as Plato described. It's my guess we found the treasure we seek. I never guess! We must test! My God! We've done it! The energy of uranium without any radioactivity! And those smug American scientists know nothing! That gives me an idea. Suppose I place the bead inside the statue's open mouth.
Oh, that's not an idea I want to think about. It's an Atlantean Roomba!
You saw that? Think of trucks powered by these beads. Think of tanks. Think of airplanes. Use your imagination, Colonel. Think big like the American. Think of bombs.
And so we automatically go back to Barnett College now that we can do something here. And this time Sophia will follow us into the building.
So why are you dragging me in here?
Plato's Lost Dialogue should be here somewhere.
Need some help?
We've got no thanks, you just get in the way. You can't go with me, you don't have tenure. Yes, please, it's scary in here.
Yes, please, it's scary in here.
Save the sarcasm, Jones. I'll meet you in your office.
Yeah, you can't get her to come with us. It doesn't really matter. But now you can see the staircase is open. Now, the name of the collection that it's part of and where we find the Lost Dialogue changes from game to game. It's one more way to make it replayable. But I'll show you all the ways to find it.
I believe it's part of the old Pierce collection.
Okay, that is not the one that we want.
It's an old lecture hall desk, complete with a wad of gum, I'll bet.
Well, in fact,
It sure is gooey. It sure is gooey. I think I've read them all. I don't need them. They're just textbooks. A fine example of braided hemp.
and you know, with the one little gray point
It's
standing
from
out
the
here.
Shamet collection. Very sharp. Looks like textiles from the Shamet collection. Marcus thought Potlatch Indians carved this. Looks like a movie prop to me. The label says unidentified potsherds. I believe it's part of the old Sprague collection.
And this is the one that is where we will find it this time. But We do need to do a little bit more in here. Specifically, we need to go upstairs.
Marcus thought Potlatch Indians carved it. The floor isn't slippery enough. It won't move.
Yeah, the totem pole would make a nice ladder, but we can't move it yet. Thankfully, that oily mayonnaise will be just the thing to pull it into place.
It's a crude copy of a Persian idol. Poor Marcus. He thought this was a Maasai warrior. It's a stone carving of Shiva. It's some kind of funeral urn. I believe it's part of the old Sprague collection.
Hint, hint.
Looks like someone's ashes in here. Feels like there's something loose in here. A key? It's dusty.
So we have a dusty key. Let's close the urn, respect for the dead and
It's
all
a
that.
medieval gargoyle, or good imitation. It's a copy of an Egyptian statue of Horus. It's a genuine candlestick. Must be made out of lead. There. Marcus still thinks this chest belonged to Columbus. It's full of air.
Yeah, that is one place that you might find the dialogue inside the chest with the candlestick weighing it down. The second one is that we have the dusty key, which goes in the dusty old chest. Third one is a bit trickier. Now you'll remember this bookcase over here.
It's a screw. Early 20th century, I believe.
And we can use the arrowhead as a makeshift screwdriver.
Ouch! The screw came out, but that hurt. I can't unless I find a way to protect my hands.
Yeah, India's going to wimp out.
It's unscrewed. That didn't do anything.
And yeah, it turns each of the screw holes brown
It's unscrewed.
after you've done it.
It's unscrewed. It's
So yeah,
unscrewed.
once you got all 5 open, or moved anyway, you can open up the back
There's
of the
nothing of
case.
importance here.
And you can find it there. Alternatively, if we go back into the basement,
It's too slippery to walk up.
unless we've got something to make
I think I'll stick this on my shoes for traction.
the pathway a little stickier.
What do you know? The gum works.
And we can check the pile of books here.
I believe it's part of the old Pierce collection. They're drawers. I believe it's part of the old Dunlop collection. Another cat idol. It looks odd. I believe it's part of the old Dunlop collection. I believe it's part of the old Dunlop collection. It's made out of wax. A cat idol. But unlike the others, it's made of wax.
Well, luckily we just happen to have this furnace here.
It's hot.
Although weirdly enough,
This isn't working.
yeah, the reason it isn't working, and this is one of the more annoying puzzles, you have to open the furnace and then use the wax cat on it.
Well, it melted.
And if it was meant to be part of the Pierce collection, we would find the dialogue inside what was left of the cat. But it isn't, so we didn't. So with that done, we can go back up to the top floor. Well, not quite the top floor. And use the dusty key on the dusty chest.
There's a manuscript inside. The Lost Dialogue of Plato.
And we can look at the dialogue, which this will become a rather important tool for us as we play through the rest of the game. Now at last I have Plato's Lost Dialogue translated entirely. The Greek original is lost, so I've used the Arabic text I found in an Italian monastery years ago and always thought was a hoax. Now I wonder, could this remarkable book hold the secret to long-lost Atlantis? Probably not. No one will publish it, that's certain. The fear of ridicule is too great. To be safe, I've sent a copy to Sprague. And we have Hippocrates. In shame I hereby do recant the time and place whereof Siratas spoke. In rendering the Egyptian into Greek, he made a tenfold error. Instead of lying 3,000 miles hence, Atlantis may well have been 30,000 miles away, or perhaps it was less than 300 miles from our own shores. Likewise, it may be that the Lost Kingdom held sway as many as 100,000 years ago, or as few as 1,000. Socrates. If a kingdom arose on earth beyond anywhere men might travel, then we would never hear of it. We ought to accept the lesser figure. So glorious was Atlantis that two colonies, the lesser 360 miles northwest of the city, and the greater 45 miles away southeast. Gates of the kingdom opened only with the aid of special stones. At many outposts a sunstone sufficed if morning light warmed the tall horns. And these directions also change with each playthrough. At the greater colony a moonstone was also needed, with darkest night healed by the full moon. To approach Atlantis itself a world stone was required as well, with a glorious sun blazing alone upon the western sea. Final entrance yielded only to contrary minds. And it is said that dwellers in Atlantis had no horses nor any need of them, or a calcum, the metal that glittered like fire. This they had instead. They cast into shiny beads and used them as we do minted coins, paying the statues to do their work as if by magic. When their colonies were failing, wise men carved strange devices out of amber to search for the metal, but only proud Atlantis ever yielded a supply. And Socrates, you have called the kingdom wealthy, but surely this is absurd. As the waters rose around their city, the kings of Atlantis, one after another, sought to hold off fate. Knowing mortal men would never rule the sea, they planned a huge colossus, which, by use of orichalcum, 10 beads at a time, would make them like the gods themselves. Nur-Ab-Sal was one such king. He it was the wise men of Egypt, who put men in the colossus, making many freaks of nature at times when the celestial spheres were all aligned. Socrates, this I doubt. We are hearing a child's tale. But huzzah! We have it! And now we have to go to Sophia and make a rather important choice, because we are, believe it or not, if not in terms of length, then in terms of plot structure, about to end the first act of the game. And we are about to have to make a choice about what will happen during the second act of the game.
I got it. I found Plato's Lost Dialogue.
Really?
Our jungle friend Sternhardt is quite the scholar.
Let me see.
And if you haven't read it already, we can read through it now.
I don't see how this will help us find Atlantis.
And we have a couple different responses here. But, big important one to note.
Didn't you notice Plato's tenfold numbering error?
So he got his dates mixed up. Why is that so important?
Plato's error means distances could also be wrong. We may not find Atlantis in the Atlantic at all.
Plato's error means distances could also be wrong.
So what if they are?
If Plato is right, Atlantis is in the Mediterranean.
If Plato is right, Atlantis is in the Mediterranean.
You mean 300 miles from Greece instead of 3,000?
Yes, the cradle of civilization.
You could be right. You once told me he came from the middle of the world. That's what Mediterranean means.
And do we want to play cynical or play along?
Good old Nurab Sal. I'm starting to like him.
Wait, quiet. I think I'm getting something.
That orichalcum sure is spooky stuff.
Spooky? Haven't you learned anything? Among the artifacts that Kerner stole was a small stone disc with a hole in it. I'm sure it was one of the 3 stones mentioned in Plato's book. And I didn't find it. I bought it from Alain Trottier in Monte Carlo.
Haven't we talked to enough of these nutcases?
Or was it Omar Al-Jabbar in Algiers? Either way, Algiers or Monte Carlo. This much I do know. We need all 3 stones if we want to find Atlantis.
And we got a couple different options here, but
How will I find Trottier and Al-Jabbar?
Not so fast. First, I'm going to tell your fortune.
and here comes
Look into
the
my
choice.
eyes. Deep into my eyes. For Pete's sake, I'm not going to hurt you. Now hold still. You are a remarkable man, Dr. Jones.
Yeah.
You possess great strength of character. You are resourceful. You trust others and want them to trust you. The most promising path to Atlantis, therefore, is the one we both must take together as a team.
And yeah, Sophia's prophecy is different each time you play through, but it's entirely based upon how you handled getting in to see her backstage. If you beat your way past Biff the doorman, she'll say something about you being a man of action. If you take the way using the sliding puzzle and the crates to climb in through the window, she'll say that you're a man who prefers to live by his wits and think his way through challenges. And if you try and talk your way past playing on Sophia's reputation, you get the option of traveling with her. So here's where we make the choice of, do we want to go with her? Do we want to take the path of action? Or do we want to try and think our way through it on our own? Now, I personally like the travel with Sophia option the best, as it comes the closest to replicating a true Indiana Jones experience to my mind. But I have already saved the game at this point, and I will be showing you all 3 pathways before we get to Atlantis. But for this time, and just making sure I do still have the save from before, I do indeed. So we will go ahead and take the path with Sophia to start off.
All right, I'm convinced. You can come along.
Then let's go, partner.
And we can also choose which line we want to go with.
Don't get any funny ideas. I'll be running the show.
You make it sound so romantic.
And we once again get the choice of Monte Carlo or Algiers. I think we will go ahead and start with Algiers. And this is where we will pick things up next time. See you then.